I wanted to get home, get a sense of the bigger picture. Then I looked at the map. To get home, I had to go through the bigger picture. Texas. The Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, the Barnett Shale, the place all of this started.
Here's a map of the Dallas-Fort Worth metropolitan area, and all those dots you're looking at here are oil and gas wells around Fort Worth. On most of the dots, there are multiple wells. So each of those dots is a what they call a pad, and from each of those pads, they can sometimes drill 2, 5, 10 wells. So if you take each of those dots and multiply it by 5 to 10, you start to see why we've now got about 10,000 wells around the city of Fort Worth. The Texas Commission on Environmental Quality had no idea. The TCEQ had no idea how many gas wells were being put in and were in the ground around the city of Fort Worth. We were interested in kind of getting a handle on this. What were really the emissions that were coming out from the oil and gas sector? And we didn't want to rely on the state's numbers. The state had just admitted publicly that they didn't know what the emissions were, that their numbers were grossly underestimated. So we did our own. We now know that emissions from this sector are greater than the accumulated emissions of all passenger vehicles, all the cars and trucks in Dallas and Fort Worth.
So let me get this straight. You're saying that oil and gas development in the last how many years is greater than the total car emissions for the entire city?
That's right. If you look at the latest inventories of what emissions are from passenger vehicles like cars, trucks, vans, motorcycles, it turns out it's about 200 tons a day of emissions, the kinds of things that form ozone and fine particles. Now, if you take a look at the latest emission inventory that I worked on with Environmental Defense Fund from the oil and gas sector around the city of Fort Worth, it's about 200 tons a day.
The rigs were burning diesel, some of them 800 gallons a day. But that wasn't all. There was something coming off the condensate tanks. I'd seen these condensate tanks everywhere, all across the United States, but I never got a chance to look at them through an infrared camera that picked up hydrocarbons.
All right, there it is. Okay. Tank, fence, school.
Right.
Condensate venting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you see that?
This is just what's coming off the top.
Yeah.
And that's why you shouldn't walk up that ladder, which I've done.
Isn't that amazing?
Whoops.
Yeah.
What is all that stuff?
I found out what that stuff is when I got a call from the mayor of Dish.
Hey, we're going to have to turn off the TV for a little while. Can you go sit at Daddy's chair in his desk? I'm not going to leave you, baby. I'm going to be right out there. The town of Dish is 2 square miles. It's about 150 people. And in 2005, the town changed its name to Dish in exchange for Free Dish Network. So everybody in the city gets Free Dish Network for a period of 10 years. We have 10 huge, massive lines coming through here, or meeting here. Those 10 lines carry 1 billion cubic feet of gas a day. So we have 10 billion cubic feet of gas going through the town of Dish every day.
At most places where pipelines converge, there are compressor stations, huge turbine engines that compress the gas into the pipeline.
Pipelines are designed to have this release where they're shooting natural gas into the air. Of course, they tell you that this all shoots up goes straight to the moon and there's none of it lingering around. There's a cloud lingering over one of our subdivisions. When things like this happen, most of the people in the community think that they've just taken their last breath.
Calvin Tillman was so frustrated with the TCEQs in action that he commissioned his own air study. The results read sort of like the back of a pamphlet that you don't want to pick up at the American Cancer Society. The study found, and I quote, amazing and very high levels of known and suspected human carcinogens and neurotoxins. These chemicals include benzene, dimethyl disulfide, methyl ethyl disulfide, ethyl methyl ethyl disulfide, trimethylbenzene, diethylbenzene, methyl methyl ethyl benzene, tetramethylbenzene, naphthalene, 1,2,4, trimethylbenzene, MNP xylenes, carbonyl sulfide, carbon disulfide, methylpyridine, and diamethylpyridine. Benzene in the air was at 55 times the public health standard. Carbon disulfide was at 107 times the health standard. The report states that acute impacts to health will occur with these concentrations of chemicals in the air. The cancer and neurotoxins will also have an impact over the long term.
And one of the sites, it's kind of humorous, but it's not humorous, is that There's a sign that says no open flames, no smoking, and then there's a barbecue grill sitting underneath it. You know, so some guy is going to be cooking his hamburger one day and blow up the town.